here where we want to prove the vertical angles theorem. We've talked about this one before. You were really big on one of your pages. The vertical angles theorem says that vertical angles are congruent. So we want to prove that angles 1 and 3 are congruent. We're given that they're vertical angles, which you can see because of the definition of a vertical angle. So there's intersecting and they're opposite from each other across the intersection, right? So we want to prove that these are congruent. The statement that we're given is that angles 1 and 3 are vertical angles. So what's the reason for that? The reason is that it has been given. That's always the first reason. Always, always, always. Okay, now we look at this and we know this is a line and this is a line. So angles 1 and 2 form a straight line, which means that they are supplementary, right? Angles 2 and 3 form a straight line, which means that they're supplementary. What can you guys remember? I want you to dig back in your brains or look back in your notes. I want you to find the term that we use to describe two angles that make a straight line together. I'll wait for a couple minutes. Well, for 15 seconds. Okay. This is because of the definition of a linear pair. The term linear pair is not going anywhere. When I say linear pair, you need to know what I'm talking about. A linear pair is two angles that when you add them together make a straight line. But they're already in a straight line, right? So they're not just supplementary, they're also adjacent. Okay, now we have angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180, and angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180. So if we add angle 1 and angle 2, that's 180 degrees. If we add angle 2 and angle 3, that's 180 degrees. And that is just the definition of supplementary. Okay. Measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. We've used this property twice already. If A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. This is the transitive property. Okay, now we have measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 equals measure of angle 3 plus measure of angle 2 plus measure of angle 3. We need to figure out what gets us to the point where we can say measure of angle 1 equals measure of angle 3. So I want you to look at this and I want you to figure out what did we do to both sides here. We subtracted the measure of angle 2 from both sides. So this is actually just the subtraction property of equality. Now, if the measure of one angle equals the measure of another angle, another word for that is congruence. If you don't recognize this symbol right here, we need to become familiar with it. This means congruent. Congruent, right there. Okay, and we know that these are congruent because that's the definition of congruence. Okay, I'm going to snap a shot of this picture and put it on the next page, and I want you to give me a fist of 5 on example 2.